Close your eyes. Imagine, if you will, it is cold outside. Wind is blustery, things are crazy, and the power's out. And you don't know when it's coming back on. You haven't gotten any updates yet. You have an electric stove and you don't have a generator, or you don't want to go turn it on. And you're hungry. You want to make something to eat. You and your fam. It's time to eat, you know? So you're going to go digging through your pantry and you're going to try to find something, but it all requires heat. You don't want to go outside and use the grill. The weather is totally not the time to do a grill, okay? You don't want to be in your garage with a camp stove because, well, it's cold. You want to be in the house with the fam, making something to eat because you're hungry. How are you going to do that? It's a fondue pot dinner. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sutton's Days. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness. And for over a decade now, I have been telling people to go get fondue pots. You can find them everywhere because at one time or another, they were the gift of choice for weddings. I don't know why. So people would hold on to them and hold on to them and hold on to them. They would sit in the garage. They'd never use them. They didn't understand the magic of fondue. I'll tell you a story about that, but fondue. And so finally they're cleaning out the garage and they go, I don't need this. And so they donate it. And it goes to your local thrift store, or it ends up in a garage sale or Goodwill, and it's like $1, $2 tops. And if you're really lucky, they have the whole set that has the little forks and everything with it, but at least the fondue pot and the stand. And with that, you can cook dinner even with no power. Let me show you how we're going to do it. And voila, this is the fondue pot. Now, like I said, if you're lucky, you got the forks to go with it. I think I do. I think they're in a drawer. I didn't dig them out. But fondue pot. So the top normally has these little, notches in it so that the forks can sit there. It has the pot, yes. It has the stand. And then it has the little thing that holds your heat source, which typically is a tea light candle, okay? And it can come with all of this or not. But the important parts that you really want are the fondue pot and the stand, because the rest is just kind of bonus, yes. And then you're going to want to get some handy fuel, sterno. I like sterno because it's guaranteed to get hot enough, whereas a tea light necessarily isn't. And because, well, hot water for coffee is important to me, So these don't cost very much. I don't know how old this one is. It says $2.49, but I know you can buy, a 6 or an 8 pack. I'll put a link down below. Anyway, this is all you need to make a comforting meal when there's absolutely no power and no way to cook. The weather outside is too bad for, grilling or whatever. So today I'm going to show you how I use a fondue pot to cook. Did you know the fondue pot has Swiss roots? Yes, it does. And that is where they came up with it. Back in the 1800s, I want to say. No, it wasn't the 1800s. It was the 18th century. It was 1699 or something like that they found, right? And fondue, yes, you have to love them. Now, the reason that they came up with this, it was an invention of necessity, truth be told. Okay, get in there. This is probably going to be a little bit much, but we'll deal. It was an invention of necessity because back in the 18th century, farmers created it. Farmers, yay, as a way to use hardened cheese and stale bread during the winter months. I mean, farmers are so smart, aren't they? They are just amazing. So it is completely an invention out of necessity, which most of them are, I think, but this one is one that stuck. It was super cool. Now, it kind of resurfaced because the earliest written recipe was found in 1699 in Zurich, describing melted cheese with wine and bread. I mean, is that not like the perfect combination right there, right? Okay, and I love how they traced down the wonderful, wonderful fondue and its creation. I'm literally making a very simple pot of chili. Be quiet. Yes, I know. A modern fondue pot is used for fondue, and it's a French word for saucepan because, the French say everything so much prettier than we do. Yes, they do. And it became common in the 18th and 19th century. Traditionally, these were made from ceramic or cast iron. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to link you to my dream fondue pot. It is cast iron. Yeah, it's, I mean, how can you go wrong with a cast iron fondue pot, right? You can't. You just cannot. So back in the 1930s, don't knock it over. Back in the 1930s, the Swiss Cheese Union declared fondue the national dish, right? You gotta love this, in Switzerland, and heavily, heavily promoted it. I mean, genius, hello. Which led to the iconic fondue pot becoming standard in Swiss homes. So 1930 is kind of when it became, everybody's got one. Everybody should have one. Why don't you have a fondue pot? Now, growing up, well, I'll get to that. Fondue kind of went global in the 60s and the 70s, 1960s, 1970s. Thank you very much. And they became popular worldwide, especially in the US, because we love nothing more than we love a fad, They were considered a trendy dinner party centerpiece. Yep. Now, if you're lucky enough, then you have one of these to hold the candle or whatever underneath. It doesn't always look exactly like this, okay? But what I can tell you is that the sterno can, I don't trust it to balance there. So I don't trust it to balance on its own. And it's too big for that, right? So I'm going to put it on there. Then it stays balanced and steady. Life's good. So find a way to make it happen. You know what I mean? So electric fondue pots entered the market during this time, broadening its appeal because, as Americans, we like to make things as easy and unnecessary as possible. So we went for the electric fondue pot. Am I doing this right? I think I am. We will soon find out. There it is. Okay. The cool part about this is that it's reusable because it's this gel, right? And we're going to take a lighter and we're going to do this. Now, okay, you can't see it, but you can hear it. Is it there? Yes. Okay. The flame is there. So I'm going to put it back on here. Now, like I said, you may have to figure out a different workaround. So, okay. So it's there. The flame is there. I can see it. And it's going to start heating this up. And back in the day, because, I'm Gen X, yeah. Growing up, my parents would always make the day after Thanksgiving the fondue pot dinner. Yes, because that is how we would use up all of the leftovers from Thanksgiving. We would have cheese fondue, and we would dip the turkey and the bread and stuffing balls and whatever into the cheese, And when we made it through dinner and we're totally stuffed, while we were helping Mom clean up, I like to imagine that we helped Mom clean up. I'm not entirely certain, but there's that potential. But while things were being cleaned up from the cheese fondue, then we would start with a completely separate set and we would start making chocolate fondue. Oh my gosh, Becky. Yes. Okay. So chocolate fondue is where you, instead of cheese, you heat up milk chocolate and you dip strawberries and bananas and mandarin oranges and pretzels and whatever your little heart desires, marshmallows, into the chocolate. Yeah. So good. And those were our after Thanksgiving dinner treats, because yes, we love Thanksgiving. We sure do. But it's a lot more fun to eat the leftovers when they're technically something new. Yes. Okay, so we're going to let this sit there. And the flame is there. And I'm going to tell you a few more facts. Yes, I am. Obviously, this will be good for things like soups and stews. Okay, not necessarily grilled cheese. But this is super duper cool because of the variety of fondues. There is the cheese fondue, always popular. The chocolate fondue, introduced in the 60s by a Swiss chef in New York. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then fondue, how do I say this? Bourguignon. Bourguignon is how you supposedly pronounce it. And I'm sure that, you guys will let me know. But fondue bourguignon, that is meat cooked in hot oil. So they put hot oil in there, and then you get raw meat on the skewer, and you cook it in the oil. Yeah. So a proper fondue pot usually comes with a stand, a burner, and long forks. Traditional ceramic ones distribute heat evenly for cheese, while metal ones are preferred for oil or broth. I don't care. This is an emergency cooking situation. Oh, I'm hearing the sterno. Okay. I'm like, it cannot be boiling already. It's not. So you're just going to get in there randomly and stir it up. Okay. And we will see how long it takes. I mean, obviously, it is not going to be microwave quick, Fondue etiquette. Yes, there is such a thing as fondue etiquette. So if you are unfamiliar with fondue and you decide that you actually want to try fondue and not wait, to use the pot for an emergency, but you want to try actual legitimate fondue, do not forget etiquette. Etiquette. Yeah, that's the word. In Switzerland, dropping your bread in the pot means you owe the table a forfeit, sometimes a bottle of wine or a playful dare. Yeah, I know. Fondue double dare. I love it. Now, fondue pots from the 60s and 70s, especially the colorful enamel ones. Like I saw one, I don't know, this is a couple months ago now. I took a picture and shared it in the Facebook group. Was that orange from the 60s and 70s, that orange enamel, and they only wanted $1 for it. I left it because I'm trying to behave myself here. I'm unsuccessful most of the time. So those are actually kind of collectible now, and they're popular among retro kitchenware fans because, the retro kitchenware stuff was super cool. Fondue pots represent community dining and sharing. Since everyone gathers around one pot, a symbol of togetherness. And for me, my friends, this is my way of making sure that we have dinner for, at least the two of us, technically 3. There's a whole bunch of chili in there. So I put in a large can, 28 ounce of diced tomatoes. I put in some freeze-dried bell peppers, some freeze-dried onions. I put in a pint of ground beef. I was going to put a can of Rotel in there, but I ran out of room. I did. And we're just going to let it heat up, okay? Oh, look at that. Can you see the steam? That's how quick. I have kept you on camera the whole time, my friends. So it's already heating up and getting nice and steamy. It takes like no time. And I just put that on there because I'm kind of the mind that if you put a lid on a pot, even if it's got a hole in it, then it'll help. But yeah, steam came off of that. So it won't take very much longer to make this work. A fondue pot is a wonderful emergency cooking tool. You just need someplace to put it, and you need to remember that it's there. The sterno, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't go bad, at least the gel stuff. And you can reuse that can multiple times, So once you're done with this pot of chili, you can easily melt down some cheese before it goes bad in the fridge because the power's out indefinitely. And then you can grab the vegetables from the fridge and you can have fondue on top of your chili. Yes, it's a great, great thing and super simple and super economical. Now, I know a lot of people that have been with the channel, it's like a badge of honor when you find your thrift store fondue pot, And so they always put up a picture and show everybody. And there's been some super cool ones found. I'm like a little jealous about some of them. And like I said, the cast iron one on Amazon is kind of on my wish list. It's probably never going to make it here, but it's kind of on my wish list because cast iron literally will last forever. And because it's cast iron, you can take it and use it in other applications also. And this stand is metal. Absolutely, it's metal. So technically, if you just get the stand, any pot will work, but you need the stand. That's the important part. You need the way to put the sterno underneath there, or the tea light if it's just something little, to make sure that the heat is stable because you don't want to burn down your house. I'm terrified of that for obvious reasons. And it just nicely heats everything up. Now, let's say I wake up in the morning, because I do, and the power's still out, and I decide, I really want some coffee, but it's going to take a bit for the wood stove to get going, or you don't have a wood stove, right? And so, wow, you pull out your fondue pot, your can of sterno, and you get yourself some water heating up. You can either use your freeze-dried instant coffee, or you can heat enough water in there to do a pour over. Love it. It's all about making the best of a bad situation. I thought, while we're waiting for this to heat up, that it would be a good time to remind you that you will need something to light the sterno, whether that be matches or a lighter, something. So that is also something to include in your preps. And it probably wouldn't hurt if you, say, got a lighter and put it in with your fondue pot. Okay, I'm going to bring this up. I'm hoping you can see the steam. Okay. See, it's getting little bubbles. It's getting little bubbles, but look at that. Oh, yeah. Come on. It was doing little bubbles. So it's not heated all the way through yet, but it's getting warmer. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's heating up. Nice. I am guessing this will probably take about 15 minutes, give or take, to heat completely up. So I'm going to put my fake lid back on. Look at this. I'm going to put that on there. There you go. And then we'll come back. Not just cheese. Yeah, it wasn't just cheese. In 18th century France, a different style of fondue was made from eggs and cheese, more like a fluffy omelet than what we think of today. So that is a possibility also. Yeah. And you guys are going to love this. My sports fans, okay? Fondue gained international recognition during the 1964 Winter Olympics in Innsbruck when Switzerland promoted it as part of its cultural identity. How awesome is that? Most of the fondue forks that come with them have different colored tips, ends on the tip of them. And that is so that guests don't confuse which fork is theirs, because people don't like using the same one. And they do recommend, if you want to do legit fondue and not use it as an emergency prep, right? Ceramic is best for cheese and chocolate, cast iron for broth or oil, and electric just means modern convenience and useless when the grid goes down. Now we're going to talk about some fun traditions and etiquette, because everything has etiquette. In Switzerland, only bread is traditionally dipped in cheese fondue, never meat or vegetables. Other foods were added later to appeal to international tastes. And the strict rule is no double dipping. Come on, don't be gross, right? Fondue has strict table manners. Once your bread, fruit, or meat is dipped, it is eaten straight off the fork. You do not double dip, my friends. And last but not least, right? The largest cheese fondue ever made was in Switzerland in 2008, weighing over 1,700 pounds of cheese. Yep, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, I want to show you. Look at that. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. So it's going to take, 15 minutes, give or take, maybe 20, depending on your heat source, your setup, how big the pot is, how full you make it, because when you come around to the outside to get some of that in, see, I've still got some fat from the burger that hasn't melted down. And so you need to keep stirring it to make sure that you have the dish totally warm. But the really cool part about this is there's nothing that I put in there that you cannot eat as is. It doesn't have to be heated. Heating it just makes it more comfortable, more normal during tough times. And so having your shelf-stable pantry built up and your fondue pot at the ready means that you can create amazing meals super fast, and hopefully you have some crackers back in the pantry, right? Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. No double dipping. New spoon. Just like with anything else you've done for the first time, it may be a little confusing or scary, but trust me, this is the easiest dinner you're ever going to make. Ever, ever, ever. Okay. Especially when you're dealing with a power outage or something like that. This here is the difference between cold sandwiches and hot chili. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I hope that you find a fondue pot, or maybe decide you're not going to go for the treasure hunt and check them out on Amazon. I'll link some down below for you. What would you heat up in your fondue pot? Until next time, everybody, be safe, keep stacking it to the rafters.